In front of me. Welcome to another episode of the ForeRight podcast. This one is something a little different and a little special. This is the Ask Chat JPT episode where we get to ask Jay some questions. JPTs, like what I did there, Jay?
Oh, I thought you just made a balls up.
This is the Ask Chat JPT because we have Jay Carter with us, so we're going to ask him some questions that we have found from across the universe from some people who have sent them into us. So, firstly,
I'd just like to say that I thought this was a dual thing. I didn't think this was the Ask Jay. I thought this was the Ask Us.
Yeah, good. That's how I got you on here. I'm actually going to start with one of my own, which came to mind during our episode about the Ryder Cup a couple of episodes ago. The home Ryder Cup captain gets to set up the course the way that they like, that they think they can have an advantage on the away team. If you and I were playing in the Ryder Cup, Jay, how would you set the course up if you were playing against me?
Very good question. Short. I'd set it up short because you hit it a long way and I don't. So I don't really want you to have an advantage there. The fairways would pinch in about where you drive it. Depending on how long are you talking like just purely pin positions or do I get to influence the greenkeepers leading in?
No, we'll let you just design the whole course, yeah.
I'd get you to I'd pinch the fairway in when it gets tight for your drive. Be wide open at about 180 off the tee where I hit it. And I would just literally, would I tuck the pins? Yeah, I'd tuck the pins. And in our time together, Scott, you're not often known as the smartest golfer I've ever played with. So I'd probably try and prey on that.
You've played with some pretty smart golfers though, Jay.
Yeah. You're not one of them. Well, and I mean that with love. What about you? If you were setting it up for me, what would you do?
I'd just put shit on the right-hand side of the fairways. Left to be wide open.
Oh, what a dick.
And I'd make sure you'd have to drive it. It'd actually be the opposite. It would pinch early and it would get wider at about 200 metres. It's nice and wide, but there'd be a little bit of water on the right, and then there wouldn't be another fairway on the right-hand side of any holes.
And wind off the left. I noticed that was one of the questions, like, what do you do? Wind into and off the left. I was just thinking panic. My heart rate elevated just reading that.
Yeah, that's a great segue. Let's go straight into that. So one of the questions was wind into, off the left, long par 4. How are you approaching that shot?
Yeah, not well. Although I actually played a few holes tonight with Mitch Cale. And given that Tauranga is not particularly long, him and Nathan Clark they've redesigned the course to suit them, and they just go out in the evenings when it's quiet. And so we teed off today, and it was quite windy today, as I'm sure you're aware, given that we live in the same town. And we teed off 17 from the sort of edge of the 14th fairway by the road.
Yep.
And they have the rule that if you're on any other fairway, it's out of bounds. So every hole, the out of bounds is the next fairway over. And the wind was hissing off the left. And you know me, on 17, I find that hard off the normal tees. And the very first shot, and slightly into, but mainly off the left, the very first shot, I hit it really nicely, just up, and then like a 40-yard cut with the wind out of bounds. So then I teed up another one. And Mitch goes, don't you just have it like a low tee shot that you can just sort of, punch it? And I went, no, but I'll try. That was a bigger cut. So that was even further out of bounds. And then on the final, or it was the final one, turned out to be the final one because I kept it in play, but I just aimed left and just allowed for that 40-yard cut. So I find that really fascinating. And he said to me, what would you do? There were no trees on the left, so I could start at left, and it was, probably not going to miss it left, as you alluded to before. Although I can do that too. I'm highly talented when it comes to missing fairways. But I said to Mitch, if I was on a hole where I couldn't start at left, like if they had trees on the left-hand side of the tee box, I'd really struggle, obviously, on that shot. Because this wasn't a yip either. These were that's just my shot, like just a high clear cut. So I was sort of saying to him, I'd probably have to hit like hybrid or 3-wood and just try and like hit a punch draw or something. What's your
That's
strategy?
fascinating.
It's not fascinating.
Before we go to that, no, it is fascinating because in the simulator, you flush it, you go after it, and you hit it pure, and it just flies dead straight.
It's very kind, Scott.
You haven't messed with the simulator settings because I still miss it way right. And I think I've said to you, I would love to stand there like a matador with a big simulator screen in front of you, and then just as you hit it, I pull the screen away on the course. I think you'd be pretty good.
You'd have to stand on the left of me to be
You'd be
safe.
dangerous on the right. Yeah.
Yeah. Feeling better though. I've got the new pings. So they're going nicely. The new driver's really nice. I have got it on draw setting, which I've never done before because it's a bit of a hit to the ego in some ways to have it on the draw setting. But I just thought, if it helps, it helps. And so, I've got it on draw setting, and it has been going quite nicely. We've teed off 13 from the back of the 18th fairway, and I hit that fairway, and then we teed off 15 from behind the 14th green. So you have to kind of carry 16 to get it in play, and then you can't bleed it. And I kept that in play. So it's going okay, but that left to right wind's just horrific. What do you do?
Is it the opposite where you're most comfortable? What would be your ideal conditions where you set up over the drive most comfortable?
Right to left.
Down
I
off the
feel
right.
like I could just, flare it out there, and then the wind will just drift it back in. It's lovely.
Yep. What do I do? The last time I had wind into off the left, it didn't end well, which was the last round I played. I aimed about 60 metres left of the fairway, and I got to about here, and I realised that I was so far underplaying that it started further right than it would have if I was aiming straight, and it didn't have a chance to stay in and bounce.
What hole?
It was on the 15th at Te Puke.
Oh, yep, down the fence line.
Yeah, down the fence
line. Why did you
line.
on 16?
What?
Did you say that was your last hole?
No, the last time I played golf.
Oh, right.
The last time I played golf, that happened. So, I've actually been working on a draw option, and I feel like if I use my entire body, it's just a feeling, but if I use my entire body, I actually end up facing both feet facing the fairway when I finish, whip my whole body around. And I've actually executed a couple of them. It feels quite nice. It looks incredibly stupid, but the ball flight's quite nice.
I'd love to see a little video of that.
Yeah.
If you have any footage, you could insert that into the chat.
But under pressure, Jay, I'm not sure how well that would hold up. So I usually, I don't hit 3-wood often. So I usually go to 2-iron and try and smack that as hard as I can and sort of hope for the best.
Yeah. That's interesting, the set makeup, like playing with Mitch tonight. He hit 3-wood a couple of times and just flushed 3 times, and he flushed all of them. And I kept saying to him, man, that's nice. He goes, I don't normally carry 3-wood. Well, he said I don't carry 3-wood at all. In fact, he cheated to beat me tonight. He had 15 clubs. But he carries driver, 2-iron, 3-iron, 4-iron. And I did say to him, are you sure those carry numbers, not many people would get good consistent gaps between 2, 3, and 4-iron. In fact, I don't think many people would get them between 3, 4, and 5-iron. But anyway, he sort of said the 2-iron's more of a tee shot, like it's a low runner. He said if he has a second serve type thing, but if he has a golf course which demands carry off the tee and you can't just sort of bunt it, then the 3 would come in and the 2-iron would come out. So I think that was quite interesting. I feel like I've grown too old for that. I've got a 3-wood and a hybrid and a 4 driving iron.
Yeah, I like that though. That's nice. Yeah, I don't hit my 3-wood often, and I was just thinking back. When was the last time I actually hit a poor one with it? And it was a while ago. I think it's kind of the memories of playing speed golf and topping a couple when you're tired. And just thinking that's how I hit it. But the last 10 I've hit, I feel like 9 of them pretty good. So maybe should be an option.
Well, it's not a bad one
But
nowadays with the new 3 woods. Like that, as I said, I've got the new pings. And when I first got it, it's I reckon it was going as far as my driver. It was unbelievably hot. Yeah, so I think it's a bit of a weapon. A lot of tour players don't carry 3 woods now. Eh? Like a lot of them are carrying 5 woods because they
yeah,
just the 3 woods for that reason, just coming out too hot, too low. And yeah, I don't have that problem.
yeah. I'm going to touch quickly on you talking about the set makeup and having a
Mm.
2, 3, 4, 5 iron. Titleist Fit now, they try to 5 mile an hour difference between each club, ball speed. 5
Oh
mile an hour
yes.
ball speed between each club. So it's a really good indicator of, one, how many clubs you should be carrying and where the gaps should be. So in the past, you've just gone lofts and kind of staggered the lofts, but if you can't create a 5 mile an hour ball speed difference, then they're going to go too close together to really need both clubs.
Right.
I thought that was quite
That's
interesting.
interesting, eh? Yeah, yeah. Well, I actually did my TrackMan numbers the other day, a couple of days ago. Only up to, actually, to be honest, only up to 6 iron. But I'm going to have a look at that when I do the longer clubs just to see, because I suspect I'd run out. I have got that 4 iron crossover though, so that gives you a bit more grunt. Do you want to see something really exciting?
Sure do.
Hmm. I knew you would ask. Got a new putter.
Wow. Okay. What's the PLD stand for?
It stands for Putting Lab Design. It's by Ping.
Yep.
So you can go on the Ping website and you can custom your own putter. So as you know,
Okay.
I hate a line or a dot on the
Yep.
top of my putter. And Ping don't do a standard one without the line. I don't like lining things up. And that could be another chat. So anyway, I got one. I did my own like that.
That's pretty clean on top.
Look at that. Beautiful. And
That's
then
very nice.
all it's got is that.
Yeah.
And then
Beautiful.
on the bottom, just a simple little answer.
How
And
good's
then on
that?
and then on
Wow.
look at that. I haven't used it yet
Wow.
on grass because we've caught our greens,
Yeah.
and I don't want the
Yeah.
sand to scratch
Probably
it.
a smart thing. Yeah.
So it's just been sitting and waiting. But look at it, would you?
That's beautiful. What grip have you got on it?
Uh, the standard Ping,
And
um,
how long is it?
35 inches
Okay.
and 71-degree lie angle. It's
Very
just
nice.
with the Ping composite shaft.
Dangerous. And are you
And
going conventional
Ping,
grip?
yes, I cross hand a little bit, but on the longer putts, probably conventional. Then if I feel like it on the short ones, I'll go a left hand low.
That is exciting.
But yes, thanks to James O'Rourke and the lovely crew at Ping, that's a beautiful. I thought I'd just show you because I knew you'd appreciate it.
I,
Speaking of
I
set
do
makeup,
appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah. Sure do. On that, we've got a question about putting. So should we
good.
go straight there?
Yeah.
The question is, what is the best putting drill for someone who struggles with alignment? Speaking of having no lines or not using a line on your ball or your putter.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because I'm probably not the guy to ask. Because as you just alluded to, I said before, I don't use a line on my ball or the putter. If we think putting's made up of, green reading, speed control, and start line, the speed control is critical. I once heard a coach say there's 5 key things for putting: pace, 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 and face. And I thought it really stuck because I was like, yeah, that's quite cool because the speed or pace is probably that much more important. And it's hard to stuff up alignment by that much if you've done a good job of green reading and you've got your speed control in a good way, in a good place. I often think about hockey, like if you were taking a penalty shot at hockey, I'm not sure what the degrees are, and you'll probably be able to work this out, but you don't see hockey players, get really fussy about lining up. Obviously, they don't have time to. The ball gets hit and they just whack it in. So I'm not sure that, I don't know, do we need to worry about alignment? Another frustration I have is people put out like gates and stuff. But then I think when you're practicing your putting, you're actually not really hitting true putting strokes. You're trying to guide the ball through the gates, and it's nothing like how you putt in the real game. And so what I think is you go, I would say putting's one of the few things where you can keep everything. And so green reading, speed, and start line. And I wouldn't be separating them all. If I put anyone on a straight putt uphill, you're not going to stuff the alignment up on that. Like you're going to get that right. From 10 feet, I think, what have you got, a degree of tolerance? So you're not likely to make a mistake on a straight putt, which then, to me, that backs up the point that it's probably not an alignment issue. It's actually how you're reading it and how you're interacting with what you're seeing. So, when you stand over and it doesn't quite feel right, you adjust. So that's that interaction, and that's the environment influencing you. So you need to be practicing like that. But purely focusing on alignment alone, I don't think is enough. And, the amount of people with putting gates, and I'm not a fan of putting gates or even putting tees out. If you absolutely had to, I just don't know why you would, to be honest. You'd be doing it on left to right and right to left putts. So you'd constantly be spending 10 minutes setting up your tee gate so that you can hit a putt through it. I don't think it needs to be that hard. But it's a safety thing. Like you see players do it. I'm always fascinated by the amount of tees I see in practice screens the day before a tournament. But that's a safety thing. It's people who are trying to improve their confidence, albeit false confidence. It doesn't matter. It is confidence to them. Like I think that perception. If you were looking at research, you'd go, well, that's not giving them any confidence, Jay. That's just false. But if they think it is, then that's half the battle. But I would encourage people to get away from trying to do specific speed drills or specific green reading drills or specific start line drills. And I would say just hit putts and pay attention to all of those three things.
Great answer.
What do you reckon?
I think the reflection is the key. I've been using the question, what happened, a lot with the players I've been coaching. So I want them to hit a shot, and we'll use putting as the example, but what happened? Did it start on the line that you intended? Did it go the speed that you intended? And then we can break down where or why we missed that putt. Was it the start line? Was it the read? Was it the speed? And I think it takes away the emotion as well by just asking what happened rather than reacting to, I missed the putt. Oh, I always miss the putt. Oh, this. But if you always get the speed right and always get the reading right, well then if you're missing putts, it's probably start line. And if you can narrow that down, then it becomes a lot easier to go, okay, well, I need to work on stabilising that face or figure out a way to get my start line either further left or further right. Most people will have tendencies. Probably have to go right down to a beginner where they're completely all over the place and don't have any sort of feel. So, I think the reflection's really key is actually you miss a putt, and we use the Benjamin Zander, how fascinating, step back and go, rather than, oh, I missed it, oh, this happened. Actually, what happened? Let's use the evidence rather than something emotional. And then once we figure out what happened, well, okay, what influences face? It might be grip, it might be your setup. And then you can start to break it down that way.
Yeah, I like that. The other thing I think about with alignment is how many times, you're out playing after work or whatever, and you hit your putt 3 or 4 feet past, or you've lost the hole in match play and it goes 3 or 4 feet past, and you just kind of casually on one leg lean over and just tap it in. Like more often than not, you hold that. And I think we all think to ourselves, man, why do I even line it up? Like you can literally just, most of the time, you can literally just do that with one hand almost and get it pretty close every bloody time. So, it's an interesting one. I like that idea. I like your concept there though, around what happened and actually reflecting and taking a moment rather than just hitting another putt.
And developing that habit of doing that. And at the beginning, it takes a little while to actually go through the what happened. And the better you get at it, you can kind of, oh, okay, cool, miss my start line, straight away. And if you start to see a trend, then, okay, well, get better at your start line by working out what influences that. And if you're always missing it left, well, maybe stand a bit closer, stand further away, maybe get putter that's more upright or something like that. I think that's where you those types of things.
Yeah, nice. That's bloody good.
I've been struggling with my putting in the data isn't very good at the moment in terms of losing strokes to the field and the data app that I use. And with the limited practice I do, I try to be really deliberate. So I go through my full process on pretty much all the putts that I hit. So I hit some longer putts, and if I've got like a a 10-footer occasionally, purposefully, not just to muck around and hit. What happens if I don't line it up? And it feels like, I don't have the data to back it up, it feels like I do a lot better with them. And then on the course, I go through my deliberate setup with the line and things. And I haven't been holding putts, and I've actually been considering, do I go away from a line? I've used a line for as long as I can remember, for 10 years or so. So do I go away from that? It's almost a bit of a comfort blanket having the line and going, oh no, that's my process, I know how to do that. So it'll take a bit of practice, I think, to go away from it, but I am considering potentially trying no lining up, or no lining the ball up.
Yeah. I think, I mean, I've always felt it really restrictive and constraining. And I stand over it and I'm like, oh, that line doesn't look right now that I'm standing here. And then I just put a shit stroke on it. So even if the line is right, I don't commit to it and the stroke's horrific, and I'll think, oh, it's too high, so I'll push it, or it's too low, so I'll pull it, or so yeah, I've probably never. I'm almost the opposite of you. I've tried to use the line because I can get my head around the logic behind why it would work, but I just can't get my head around actually executing it with it.
I think one of the reasons I'm considering not using it is probably a couple of months ago when I was kind of playing a little bit. I felt like I had really good speed control over the shorter putts, and I could pick any line I wanted within a range and hold it either a bit faster or a bit slower. And it doesn't feel like I've got that at the moment. I'm wondering if the line's restricting me in that way, and going, I'll pick that line and I stand over it and I can't figure out the speed that matches that line. So obviously understand that there's no one perfect line. There is a range you can hit it in depending on the speed you decide to hit it. So yeah, that's one of the reasons I'm thinking of maybe going without a line.
It's one cool stat that we use Upgame with the national program here. One cool stat they have is your speed on your putting. And it's often it's got pretty strong correlation with if you've got good speed, and it has nothing to do with strokes gained because it doesn't, it's not deciding when the ball. Well, it has a little bit to do with strokes gained, to be fair, but not much. But it has really good correlation with strokes gained, or it does have a bit to do with strokes gained, actually, now that I say that. But it's a nice image for players because Kazuma's obviously a great putter, but people just see him holding putts. And then when I show them his speed data, when he doesn't hold it, he leaves himself so close.
It's not far away, is it?
Yeah, which obviously that holding speed's critical. One of the questions.
We'll move on. Go on. Yeah.
No, well, one of the questions that I saw was, and you'll probably be able to articulate it better because I haven't got it in front of me, but what hole gives you the most fear or the most I don't know if it was doubt or whatever it said, but do you remember that one?
I do. Yeah, I've got it in front of me. Which hole or course has, I kind of reworded it a little bit, but which course or hole has your number or has humbled you the most?
Yeah. Well, and I was thinking about that. I went first tee at Parapara Uru, definitely. But then I actually went, oh no, the first tee at Royal Auckland as well, the old Royal Auckland. And then I just went, actually, the first tee anywhere for me.
Yeah?
Yeah. Just that pressure of that. I don't know what it is about the first tee. What about you?
Do you remember a time where you didn't have that? Because I know you've potentially told the story on the podcast, but was it at the Grange at the New Zealand Open? Was it at the Grange?
Parapara Umu.
Oh, was that at Parapara Umu?
Yeah.
We showed. Did you have any issues before it?
No,
I was trying to think. I was like, the second one's harder, isn't there? Like a 200-meter par 3 into the wind usually.
The first hole's about as gentle a tee shot as you can get on that golf course. But I remember when I was a younger player playing, I'd get nervous on the first tee, but it wasn't a fear, like it was just a kind of normal nerves. But I know that I'll know that I had a good shot. Like I didn't always hit good shots, obviously, but in my head I'd be like, oh yeah, that's all good. I just had a good one. I remember playing in a tournament and the tee block was here, and then there was a hill down to the next tee, and then a hill down to the next tee. And we were playing off the second to back tee, and the clubhouse was behind us. So I'd walked in the practice rounds. I'd walked down the hill to the tee, and then in the first round of the tournament, my legs were shaking so much that I couldn't actually walk down the hill. I had to go around it, but it didn't. That was pre-anxiety. Like I still just there was trees left, water right. It was a hard tee shot, but from memory, I just hit it down the middle every time. So I always had that nerve, but at one point it became probably went from nerves to anxiety. Then it's pear-shaped. I'm okay now, though.
Good. Good. I
Yeah.
can't wait for the first tee shot of your next event.
Yeah. What about you?
Um,
Oh, actually, and while you think about that, Shirley Golf Club in Christchurch as a golf course that humbled me every time. And again, this was when I used to play. The Shirley Open was a massive event in the amateur series, and I love the golf course. And it's got better and better. I reckon it's better now than it was then because I've got rid of the trees and not because that suits me, but I think it's a better fit for the course. It's a wicked golf course. Like I'd love to be a member there. But I loved it, but I always just played shit. You know, most courses that you play shit on, you hate them. You're like, oh, it's a dumb course. And then courses that you play well on, you generally really like. And
yep.
I'm like that, except for Shirley. Shirley's one that I don't even think I ever broke 300, which is, 375 and a 74 in a tournament. I don't even think I ever broke 300 around there, but so that's humbled me, but I would love to play there every day.
I've got a bunch that I've got poor memories of hitting some terrible shots on. I don't think there's any where I'd stand up and go, I hate this tee shot, because I've also had good shots on them. There's a few 15, 16, 18 at Muriwai Golf Club. I don't have great memories of hitting 3 good ones in the same round down there. The first time I ever had sort of my best round going, I was 4 under through 14 and ended up shooting 2 over. Just lost a couple of tee balls on 15, 18, and so that's obviously that sticks with me, that memory.
Yeah.
I've hit poor tee shots on most holes that I've played multiple times, but I've also had a couple of good ones on those same holes, so I'm not sure if there's any one in particular. In terms of a course, I guess they've all probably humbled me. I would like to have shot lower on all of them. What would there be? Probably, actually, for the size of the fairway, the 8th at Kinloch, I always struggle to seem to hit that fairway. I'm not sure if it's the shape of it, but I've lost way too many balls on that tee shot, and it's actually a generous, pretty wide fairway.
Yeah. Kinloch's the course that's going to humble you, though.
Yeah, pretty much every time. All right, next question, Jay. Any advice to a teenager, someone maybe late teenager, early 20s, who's fallen in love with golf and wants to give it a shot?
What do you mean, give it a shot? What do you think they mean by give it a shot? Like play professionally, sort of thing.
Take it as far as possible. Definitely play some amateur tournaments and play some of play the New Zealand Amateur, for example. See how it goes. But yeah, play at a high amateur level or compete in those events.
It's a good question. The first thing that came to mind would be keep the love of the game. I reckon most people that play at a high level either hate it or have hated it. And that's, I think, really sad. I remember as a young, living in Wellington, but I'd come home to see mum and dad would go, do you want to have a game of golf? I'd only be 18 and golf was what I did. And I'd just think, no, I couldn't think of anything worse which is sad. Like golf was just what I did. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't love it. And so I think that would be my advice, would be that passion that you've got when you first start. I don't know the answer to how to keep that, but keep that passion, because if you love it, I reckon you'd be willing to do anything for it, and just keep reminding yourself of that stuff. Yeah, what do you reckon?
I'm going to piggyback on that. Your answer there, keep the love of it. Don't get caught up in, I have to do this to get better. I have to do this because this is what I see players doing, or I see better players have done to get better. Go out, play golf the way that you want to play it. Hit shots that you want to hit. It doesn't have to be done a certain way. Go out and hit shots around trees and bomb driver as hard as you can to keep that love going. So yeah, make sure you're doing enough things where it's enjoyable to you, so you don't get caught up in feeling like you have to do it this way or you have to go and practice, because that's what you need to do to get better.
Yeah. Do you remember the name Victor Dubisson, the French professional?
Yeah.
Do you know what happened to him?
No.
Really interesting story. This. He was 33, I think, when he retired. I want to say he was top 15 in the world. He played Ryder Cup. He'd won one on the DP. Obviously, top 15 in the world, right? You're pretty bloody good. And at 33, just retired. He just went, I'm lonely. I hate this life. Um, so he went and got a job, which he called his dream job. I think it was a travel agent, maybe. I might have made that bit up. And just literally walked away from golf because didn't love it. It was obviously gun, like top 15 in the world. That's proper good.
Yeah, I remember him. It was awesome to watch. Played with heaps of flair, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Just went after it. It was cool to watch, yeah.
Yeah. So he got a job. Anyway, I think this is like 2021 maybe, or 2020, somewhere around there, he retired. This year, he played in a tournament in July 2025 on the Alps tour.
Oh, yeah.
And he won it.
Wow.
But he refused to take the prize money because that just took the love out of. He just wanted to have the love of playing and competing.
Yeah.
I was just like, far out. That's cool. It's cool, but it's sad. Hey.
It is sad, yeah.
Like, like you can look and go, well, I'd give anything to be, that good or whatever. And he's like, it's not worth it. And so that's why I think the love is critical. And to hear that he came back and played and just went, I mean, if you're top 15 in the world, you're a multimillionaire. Not that that's any point. To still say I don't want to take the money, I just want to play, I reckon that's pretty cool.
Just something you said there, I'd do anything to do that, and we've heard that a number of times. Everyone's heard that before. I'd do anything to do that. And I've never thought about that, but when you said that, I was like, no, you wouldn't, because we can tell you what it takes now, and you don't do it. So you wouldn't give anything.
Yeah.
That's interesting, yeah. It's easier. People want the guarantee of the success, or they want the guarantee at the end. But
yeah.
Simon
used to say that as a bit of a thought experiment. He would say, like if you did everything I said for 5 years, and I could guarantee you that you'll be PGA Tour player in 5 years' time, but you've got to absolutely do everything, would you do it? And everyone says yes. And then, would you still do it if I can't guarantee it? No. Like, wow, so, but everything that he would say to do, you're like, oh yeah, that would make sense. He's not asking you to do anything stupid, like just practice and train, but I guarantee it, do it? Yep, I'll do it. No, you won't. Because it's hard to do all that stuff. And then you don't want it to end up like Victor Dubuisson, who I'm sure there's hundreds of guys on tour who feel like he feels, but probably don't have the courage to do what he did. I'd love to talk to him, man. I reckon that'd be epic. Yeah.
Cool story to tell.
There was a similar question about that, which I thought about. I'm not sure if it was necessarily a young player, but it was someone. There was a question around what advice would you give?
Mm-hmm. Yep. There's a couple of questions around that.
And the one that
you can
go on. Yeah.
So one of them was, how would you get a 5-year-old boy into the game who drags a club around the course with dad? So I guess a bit of advice around that. But then one piece of advice you give to your younger self when you started. But I guess that could be at any stage growing up.
Yeah, the younger self one for me would be that love piece again. Find what you love about it. Find what's fun. So like that wind off the left, and it's easy to say this now, that wind off the left tonight with Mitch. An intentional reframing of that from me. Like I genuinely don't like that shot, obviously, because my daughter and grandson were in the golf cart. So, like that little bit of extra added pressure, don't look like don't fail in front of people. But I genuinely enjoyed that. So I was like, this is hard. This is yuck. I'm not very good at this. I don't like it. I don't know what to do. But kind of tried to just lean into that through all the advice that I've had over the years from David Galbraith. And, I just thought, so that's where I'd go to define what fun is, because fun isn't just every shot being perfect. Because like you and I have talked about before, if you hit every shot perfect, you'd probably give up pretty quickly because it'd be as boring as batshit, right? You just shoot 54 every time and go,
Yeah.
this sucks. Um, so I would encourage myself to lean into those moments and go, see that as hard and that is fun. And do you know what's interesting? Um, the Ryder Cup, Lowry and Tyrrell Hatton at the end, like on the 18th green after they won the Ryder Cup, well, after they hadn't actually won it when they interviewed Lowry, they'd kept the cup. At
Yeah.
that stage, it was 14 all. And he said that was the hardest 2 hours of his life, that back nine. And then I think Tyrrell Hatton, in a separate interview, hadn't heard because he was still on the course when Lowry said his. He said that was the worst day of my life, but they loved it. And so there's that element of fun doesn't have to be all rainbows and cupcakes, and it can be a bit yuck and horrible, and then leaning into that in a way that you're proud of. And so even though I did hit it out of bounds twice playing with Mitch on the 17th, because I hit the 30th fairway, that was still really satisfying because of the way that I went into it. So that would be the advice to my younger self. I'd be interested to hear, you're a really good junior coach. Well, you're a really good coach, but I used to really enjoy watching you with the juniors. They used to follow you around like a Pied Piper, and not a skill that I had. What would your advice be around that 5-year-old?
Don't push them into it, for sure. If they don't want to hit a ball, don't force them to hit a ball. Demonstrate the behaviour that you want to see. And if you're out there, if you hit some shots and you're smiling afterwards, they're probably going to pick up on that and go, well, that must be fun. I might want to try that. So demonstrate the behaviour you want to see. If you're not enjoying golf and you're hitting shots and you're getting upset, well then good luck trying to get someone to fall in love with golf after seeing that. So probably
that's good advice.
Demonstrate the behaviour that you'd like them to emulate.
I think because golf's hard, Like golf's hard mentally, emotionally, physically, technically. Like it's just hard, and those emotions for a 5-year-old can be pretty brutal. So I like what you said there. Just your behaviour is going to probably signal as much as anything.
And a big one for me as well, coaching, is just not reacting as a coach to any shot that the player hits. Celebrate the really good ones, because it is hard to hit a shot that goes straight, that gets off the ground and goes the distance you're trying to hit it. So celebrate them, but don't get carried away or don't make excuses for shots that don't go very well. Just go, okay, cool, go again. Okay, cool, go again. So that it doesn't create this attachment to, I have to get it right, or I have to do this to get someone to cheer me on, or to get that feeling. It's like, oh, cool, swung pretty hard, let's go, try again. And as they start to get the understanding, and probably more so with the teenagers, I'm not sure how it would work with the 5-year-old, but what happened? Missed the ball. Do you know where you missed it? I was above it. Okay, cool. The club needs to be a bit lower next time. That's it. So, cool, I missed the ball. I hit the ground first. Okay, club got a bit too low. Try and get it a bit higher next time. But they'll figure that out, I think, as really youngsters anyway.
Yeah, some of that advice stuff as well, when you think about for the general population people, like if you go, what's the one bit of advice? I love the work that Rich Masters has done and reinvestment theory. The more explicit the instruction you receive, the higher your propensity is to choke. So if you've been told, where to put your club, where to put your hands, where to put your arms in the swing, and you're thinking about that, you're more likely to choke. And if I think about me with driver, I choke, obviously. I was given, and I'm not, it's not a blanket rule, but my instruction was explicit. The club has to be here, your arms have to be here. And I had plenty of guys that had the same instruction, and they were gun, and they didn't have this, like Mark Brown would be a classic case, right? So certainly not saying it was that, but I don't think that helps. Rich talks about using analogy learning. So, like, which they'll, what would a topspin forehand look like? I feel like in tennis, or imagine a pendulum when you're putting. So I would say, I often say to people, if I was playing against you in the Ryder Cup, like you mentioned earlier, I'd be asking you.
No matter how the course was set up.
I'd be saying, what do you do with your wrist, or what do you do with your elbows on the backswing? Or I noticed you've done something different with your right elbow. What are you doing now? And as soon as I get you thinking about your body, you're going to be in trouble. And we try, and that's a natural thing. Like we try and control that. Like
Yeah.
if you're dancing in the living room by yourself and you're just going crazy, you're not thinking about anything, and then all of a sudden, if I put you in a room with 20 people and said, now dance, you are almost certainly getting internal and starting to think about your body. Whereas if I was caddying for you, instead of, I would be saying things like, see that cloud up there, I want you to hit it over that cloud, or, anything out and not to do with your body. So if I was trying to beat you, I'd try and get you focusing on your body. And if I was trying to get you to perform, I'd get you focusing on anything but your body. So I think that would be the bit of advice. You watch all this shit on YouTube, or not like this podcast. This podcast is great on YouTube, but all this instructional stuff on YouTube and Instagram, I'd be surprised. I mean, there might be a couple of things that you pick up and like, you go, oh, that's cool. But if it's thinking about what you're doing with your body, I'm not sure it's massively helpful.
I can vouch to say that you have done that, playing against me, and you've beaten me every time.
No,
almost every time.
Rubbish.
I'm always thinking about my elbow, my wrist, but it's funny, I don't go into the realm thinking about those things.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't do that to you, Scott. I have too much respect for you to do that sort of stuff.
Okay, this one's actually from my sister, who her husband bought her a golf club. I don't think she wants to play golf, but she's played a couple of times. But her question is, why can you only use a tee on the first shot on the hole? And it actually got me thinking. It's a good question, and for someone who doesn't play golf. But I would say to that, play the it's okay rules, tee it up anywhere you want. Going back to how do you make it enjoyable for you? Tee it up anywhere. If you want to tee it up, make it easier. If that's going to make you enjoy the game more, and then as you get better, you can remove the tee if you want to. But it did get me thinking a little bit about why can you tee the ball up? Any ideas where that rule came from?
I don't, and I did see that question, and I thought, it's interesting, because it will, in the old days, you used to actually tee off within, I want to say, a club length of the hole.
Yeah.
And then they put it to 3 club lengths, and then I think it became 12 club lengths, and then they built a new tee block, but I'm not sure. So there will be some documentation around why, but yeah, it would be worth a look. Have you ever seen that comedian? I don't even know who. The guy's probably famous. I'm going to sound like an idiot doing this, but he's an black American guy, and they talk to him about, he loves playing golf, and they talk to him about playing off the tips, and he goes, why would you play off the tips? You pay the same price and you make it worse. It's a great clip. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen that. No?
I'll share it with you, because without context, that's a shit story. But if you can somehow use your magic and insert that into the podcast, that'd be great, because it's funny. But that's the thing, right? Like, why do we pay more to make this game harder?
Yeah, it's fascinating. I remember a story working at Tauranga Golf Club, and some members went and played Kinloch and they came back, and I'd played Kinloch for the first time not long before, and I absolutely loved it. It was extremely difficult, and I absolutely loved it. And they came in and I said, how was it? Like, my enthusiasm was through the roof, and they go, I hated it, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, why is that? It was too hard. And I was like, what tees did you play? Oh, the black ones, way at the back. I was like, you're 12 handicapped. What are you doing playing the black tees? It's like, the shortest par 3 is about 190 metres. Like, you've got no chance as a 12 handicap off the black tees around there. And yeah, it's like, why? You kind of want some enjoyment. And if you go and play the black tees, just know that you're not going to have a good score. So that's not the reason you're playing the black tees. So you got to find another way to enjoy it. And it might be the challenge of, let's see if I can break 95.
Yeah. Do you know, on that, I saw a clip which I actually posted on my Instagram around, I think it was Nick O'Hearn, and he said a 10 handicapper is closer to a scratch handicapper than a scratch handicapper is to a tour pro. And I completely agree with that. And because his point was, they're not necessarily 10 shots better, but what you need to remember is they're playing the hardest golf courses in the world with the most tucked pins like pins 3 meters from the edge of every green with long rough, and they have to do it on a new course every week. Whereas 10 handicapper and a scratch handicapper, by and large, are playing the same course every week on slow greens,
Pins in the middle.
pins in the middle. And I think about Kazuma, we go down to Kinloch when he comes up here to Tauranga. We go down to Kinloch and play. And he'll normally give me 10 shots. And last time he went round in 66 and I went round in 83. So he won. But if we took that day, I've possibly even said this before on our chats, but if we took that day and came and played at Tauranga, my 83 would probably be 72 because I wouldn't get punished as much. But his 66 would probably only be 64 maybe. Like I'd be 11 shots better, say. He's not going to shoot 55. So that exponential bit around the harder golf courses and better players, like, the Irish Open a few weeks ago, man, that golf course is so hard. The rough's long, the course is long, greens are fast, they're slopey, but Rory shoots 18 under or something, and you just think, far out. He'd have to give me 20 shots, I reckon. No shit, I shot a hole easy.
Yeah.
So anyway, don't know where I was going with that based on your sister's question, but even if I teed it up everywhere, I wouldn't beat him. I don't actually tee anything up except my driver. So I don't tee up irons on par threes or 3-woods or anything.
Yeah.
Anyway, as you were, the other question.
No, with the same question. So I think you're right. It used to be a club length from, so you hold it on hole 1, and you get a club length from there to tee off to hole number 2. But they used to use little cones of sand. So that must have been extremely messy around the hole of doing that.
Putting on cord greens every week.
Yeah, or only within 3 feet.
Yeah, which would make your speed control quite easy. You could just whack it up and hopefully it slows down with the sand, depending on how much sand is there.
True. But yeah, I thought it was fascinating. Why do you get to tee it up?
We'll have to answer that in the next pod.
Yeah. One of the questions was, why is it 14 golf clubs? And this is probably one of the rules of golf that I would change if I had to change one. I would have the limit being less clubs, probably 10 max, but if you could pull my arm to get it a little bit lower as well. But I think that would be interesting, 10 clubs. But I had to look into this to see why. I wonder, how did it get to 14? So I looked into this, and back in the early 1900s, there was no limit on how many clubs you could carry. And one player actually carried a full set of right-handed clubs and a full set of left-handed clubs, just in case he needed one of the left-handed clubs. He was a right-hander. And people thought this was getting a little bit ridiculous for caddies. I think the record for someone carrying clubs was about 36 or 37 clubs in the bag. So the caddy has to lug this around. And I thought it was getting a bit ridiculous, so they had to change it. And it wasn't until a few years later. It may have been the 30s, 20s or 30s, 1920s, 1930s. But it was in the Walker Cup where they finally decided. There's no documentation on how it came to be 14, but how they think it was decided was one of the players, I can't remember if it was the American or Europe, won 1 year, and then a couple of years later the other team won. One of them won with 16 clubs, the other one won with 12 clubs, so they said let's split the difference and we'll make it 14, and it's been 14 ever since.
That's fascinating.
38 clubs.
Yeah, especially with imagine the bag too. It's probably like a sack and leather and wood if it was in Scotland.
Yeah, imagine the demons having to have 30. Yeah, how's that decision-making process?
Yeah. And then when you pull one out, like when you've got a small carry bag and you pull one out and 5 come out. I'm with you. I reckon 10 would be a nice amount.
Yeah, and interestingly, I do not think the scores, especially on the PGA Tour, would be any higher.
No.
I think the scoring average would be exactly the same.
But you can imagine the club manufacturers jumping on it and working out how to do it. Whereas in actual fact, it'd be better to just go. Like, I reckon it'd be cool to have access to 14 clubs that did 14 different things. Like, or at the moment, there's probably 16 or 17 most tour players carry. But to then have to choose 10, and they don't like you are going to sacrifice somewhere.
Yeah. Is there a rule of golf that you would change? What would it be?
Well, I come under a bit of fire for this, Scott, but I actually I reckon just having a clean and place in the bunker. Those rules, buffs and golf geeks aren't a fan of it, because then they start going, oh, why wouldn't you just have a clean and place everywhere? But I just think preferred lies. Bunkers are hard enough as it is. Most of them in New Zealand and aren't particularly well kept either. So I kind of just go, look, it's hard enough as it is. Just give yourself a place. But yeah, I came under fire for that one, Scott. I wasn't massively well received, so maybe I need to rethink it.
I
But
like
I'm
that
standing
one.
firm at the moment.
Yeah, I like that one. I don't see any harm in it, and it takes away, which I know you have a go at me for this, but the fairness of golf.
Yeah,
If the guy in front doesn't rake the bunker very well, and then the person behind gets punished, then you just leave it unraked to punish the person behind you to then even things out, or you just
yeah,
stick to your values and rake it. But this takes away the pressure of that. And there's some people who try to do a really good job raking and then leave all the footprints on the way out. So
yeah.
yeah,
And if you've
I'm on
been in a
board.
bunker, you're often a bit pissed off, and you don't rake it. You rake it pretty aggressively, and there's big hollows, and yeah. What would you
I like
change?
that one. The out of bounds rule.
No, yeah, I don't agree with
No
that.
stroke and distance. So there's a penalty area
It
and
would
there's an out
suit
of
me.
bounds. So in the penalty area, you can play from it. The out of bounds, you can't play from that area, but it's just everything else is the same options as your penalty area, except you can't play from inside it.
Yeah, yeah, not silly, not silly. It would clear up. I'm not a fan of this new rule where you can drop it on the fairway, like like this hole's like the third at Tauranga, where that just becomes a bit of a farce. Anyway, I don't mind that rule. I never used to like it. I reckon you've adapted that because I don't think. What did you used to have? Was that
No, it's
always your
been there, but
thinking?
you were worried that people were going to cheat. I think stroke and distance is too much of a penalty.
Hmm.
Pick one of them,
Especially if
stroke
that
or
left to right
distance.
wins.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But the other one I've said for a while would be the clubs, 10 clubs max.
Yeah, that would be cool, I reckon.
Mm.
I'll be up for that. I think that could be you should be on a crusade to change that. Although retailers may not be that happy with that, as I'm wearing my clubroom hat. That's probably a dumb thing for me to say.
Actually,
I think we should have
retailers may
16
not like
clubs.
this, but it wouldn't be as penal. Would be, how about no tees
Yeah, no, I'd be
off
okay
the
with that.
ground? Off the ground,
Yeah,
every club.
driver off. Driver's hard
Yeah,
enough to hit as it is.
that might take care of the ball issue. Rolling back the ball. Once
Mm,
you run a driver off the deck,
yeah,
could be on something.
no, not sold on that rule. I just glanced up at the time. Obviously, we had a slight glitch there, and I'm also conscious that I'm doing the blind, what's it called? Blind ranking
All
for you.
right.
Are we
Okay.
ready for the blind ranking?
I'm ready. I wasn't
Okay.
ready. I forgot about this, so I'm ready
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. So I've got actually a few of them because I have given this some thought, but I'm going to start with this one
Okay.
tonight. And I think I've got it right, but you might go, oh, that doesn't work. But the question is, you can only play one course for the rest of your life.
Yep. Is that
Right.
the question?
Well, and now I'm going to give you
Oh, okay. So these are the 5 courses. These are my 5 options. Okay.
yeah, and
Yep.
rank them.
All right.
St Andrews in Scotland.
4.
Wow. Pebble Beach.
I recently found out. Do I have to pay green fees?
No, no.
I recently found out how much it costs to play there. So
How much?
more
What
than
is it?
what for 2 people it was over 2,000 US all up.
Holy hecker.
Which that kind of makes me want to put it quite high up because there wouldn't be many people who get to play that every day. I'm going to put Pebble Beach at. I'm trying to decide between 2 or 3. I feel like if I put it 2, I'm gonna miss. I'm gonna regret it. I'm going to put it at number 2.
Royal Melbourne.
Oh, Jay. Shit. Jay, I knew I should have put it at 3. Damn it. Royal Melbourne's number 1.
Is it number 1?
Yeah. Just from what I've heard from you, from anyone who's been there, Royal Melbourne's number 1.
Tara.
Damn it. Oh. 5.
Augusta.
Okay, I'm happy with that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. Because if I put Tariti at 3, Augusta would be 5, I would have been gutted. I think if I put Pebble Beach at 3 and then toss up between Augusta and Royal Melbourne, between 1 or 2, I would have been happy with that.
Blind, yeah. So what would a non-blind ranking be?
It's hard to not put Augusta at 1 just because of the exclusivity of it. Whereas if I did want to rock up and play Royal Melbourne, it's not easy to get on, but I feel like I could get on. I can't just ring someone and get on at Augusta.
Yeah. Well, there must be some people that can just ring someone and get on, Scott. Just you and I aren't that person.
From what you've told me about Royal Melbourne, Jay, and
yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I might even still leave that at number 1, as much as I love Augusta.
I'd have Augusta at 1.
Okay, well then you've oversold me Royal Melbourne. That's on you.
Well, I haven't played Augusta.
You've been there though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it is.
Without the rankings, I might go. I think St Andrews will be 5 on that list. Tariti 4, Pebble Beach 3, Royal Melbourne 2, and Augusta number 1.
Yeah, that's nice. And it would be a nice problem to have, only being allowed to play one of those courses.
Very nice. I like you putting St Andrews in there first.
Yeah. I thought long and hard about this, because what I had in my head was, I wanted the last one to be your number 5, in which case I was going to go Augusta. Or
I felt like Kinloch was coming.
Yeah, I had Kinloch and Wairakei on the list. But I also had, if you left number 1 open, it was going to be Royal Tauranga. But you didn't. So.
Well, I had no problem playing that every day when I was there. So.
Yeah.
There you go. I already made that choice.
Yeah, true. Well
done, Jay. You nailed that. I thought you were going to stuff that up royally.
Yeah, so did I. But I have, as I said, I've got a few more. So.
Cool.
I'm excited about future episodes.
Very nice. Well, thanks for our first episode of Ask Chat JPT.
Yeah, what's our next pod?
Our next podcast, we've got a big announcement.
Big announcement.
Yeah, only
I
for
think
us.
We can put a drum roll. I think with Riverside you can put a drum roll in.
Yeah, should we announce it now?
Yeah.
Go on, you tell them.
Well, we've decided to play in a tournament. Because we've talked about it for a long time. My youngest daughter is 16, and I haven't played in a tournament since she's been alive. So I'm 17 years since I last played in a tournament. And based on some of the anxiety that I spoke about in this podcast, that's the main reason why I haven't played. So it's going to be really interesting. I don't actually know what the tournament's called, but it's basically a Club Pro event at Windross Farm in Auckland. So yeah, we're going to attempt to go up there and have a hit, and I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I was a little bit nervous. You came to me and said you were keen to play a tournament, and I was like, Jay, you've told me this for 14 years. Yeah, and you still haven't done it. And then you sent me a screenshot of your registration, and my heart beat a little faster. I said, this is much easier when you were just talking about it. So
yeah.
both registered, and the next podcast is going to be talking about our preparation, and we're going to go over a course plan. So neither of us have played Windross Farm, and you using your coaching experience and how you would approach when you take teams overseas, you're going to play courses that they haven't had the opportunity to play before. Generally, they might get a practice round, but we're going to approach it as if we're not going to get a practice round and go over a bit of course preparation and maybe what do we got? Maybe 20 odd days before that tournament looks like for our practice. And
Yeah, well, I'm away with work for about 10 of those 20 days with no golf club, so that'll be interesting. Will we have a practice round?
I don't think so. I'm open to one, but if we don't, it'll be cool to prepare like we're not going to.
I think we should prepare like we're not going to, but I still think we should have a practice round.
Okay.
I'm already nervous enough. All right, so that's the next podcast.
Looking forward to it.
Brilliant.
Cool. All right.
So good. Thanks, brother.
Thanks. See you.
See you in a week.